Just the knife in the kidneys over all these years.
Sorry. I know what that line is from. So were you in love with Meri when you married her?
I told her I loved her and I chose to love her.
Meri had me dying. That was the kind of comment that hits just right. Perfect shade thrown at Kody. Meanwhile, Suki's sitting there, clueless, completely missing the point. Honestly, I had to laugh. You know what? I've officially joined the Meri fan club. I didn't used to be on her side, but after rewatching everything, especially with the new context of all that's gone down, I see her in a whole new light. Here's what gets me though. Remember when everyone, except Janelle, of course, gathered around to tell Christine she was the one ruining the family? All that drama, right? But when Meri decides to leave, suddenly Robyn's crying her eyes out, and no one's jumping in to tell her she's wrecking the family. It's like, what's the deal? Why does Meri get a free pass when Christine didn't? And yeah, I get it. Back then, Meri was all in with Kody, agreeing with everything he said, even going as far as to say she was glad he'd said it all. So there's that, but still, the hypocrisy's hard to ignore. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Kody's latest gem about David, I'm shocked, but honestly not surprised. At this point, I'm pretty sure nothing that comes out of his mouth could actually shock me anymore. This guy is desperate for a reality check. So he says, Christine has to destroy my character, or David won't marry her because he'll think she left a good man. Let that sink in. Literally one of the most delusional things I've heard him say in a while, though admittedly that bar is pretty low. I mean, does he seriously think David can't watch the show himself and see what Christine's been dealing with? Ha! I think Kody's nacho quote alone would be enough for David to see the truth. It's honestly wild how Kody still believes he's some kind of good man when this show has been airing for years, and let's be real, none of those years paint him in a flattering light. His delusion is next level if he thinks he's got anything resembling a positive image. What Kool-Aid has Kody been drinking? Because, at this point, the only person left who thinks he's a good man is Robyn. Oh, and maybe himself. Not even his own kids seem to buy that nonsense. The fact that he thinks he can throw shade at David and Christine's relationship is absolutely laughable. Kody treated Christine like garbage for years, and we all saw it on national television. Where's the footage of Kody being a good guy? I mean, I could list off examples all day. Grocery money debacle, anniversary with Nancy, that's not Christine. His refusal to apologize to her friend. The whole kidney incident, not being able to put the kids to bed. Oh, and let's not forget his unwillingness to be intimate unless she changed. Shall I go on? And this guy really has the audacity to compare Christine to horny, panting dogs and still think he's a good man. The level of delusion here is truly jaw-dropping. Thank God he has such a high opinion of himself, because clearly nobody else does. The whole ring debacle was a huge deal for the family, but some people are so caught up in their outrage that Christine shared Meri's story that they're missing the point entirely. This wasn't just Meri's story, it was the story of the entire polygamous setup. Kody literally melted down that ring and declared he didn't want Meri to have any control over him. Newsflash. That should have been a massive red flag for all the wives. That moment wasn't just about a piece of jewelry, it was a blatant shift in the power dynamic of all their marriages. Hello, it's a family matter, not a private Meri issue. And let's be honest, this isn't some big revelation for anyone who's been paying attention. The catfish already told this story ages ago, and Meri? I'm sure she's thrilled that one of the catfish's claims has now been officially validated. I keep circling back to Kody and Meri's divorce, especially the way it was presented to Janelle and Christine. Janelle's initial concern wasn't just about Meri and Kody's marriage ending. It was about the ripple effect this divorce would have on the entire family. And that ring was the perfect symbol of that shift. It wasn't about the ring itself. It was about the breakdown of everything they'd known and the growing disdain for the whole polygamous setup. It was the start of an anti-family, anti-polygamy movement within the family, and frankly, I think everyone saw it. And really, should Kody have been asked about this during the tell-all? That seems cruel, don't you think? That conversation should have been directed toward Leon, not some random daughter. It's not like they didn't know the personal stories were going to come out on national TV. This whole thing reminds me of an Anne Lamott quote. You own everything that happened to you. Tell your stories. If people wanted you to write warmly about them, they should have behaved better. Meri can be as upset as she wants, but the reality is, this is a family story, and Christine has moved beyond the whole lie and pretend phase that Meri and Janelle are still kind of stuck in. Meri, of course, is guarded about this. She's probably mortified that someone else aired that chapter of her life on national TV. But honestly, I'm thinking she's probably more pissed that this was a potential highlight for her upcoming book, and now that storyline is out there for everyone. Oops. But look, I'm with Christine on this one. I don't lie either. I don't sugarcoat things just because they're uncomfortable. I'm sure Christine didn't mean to hurt anyone by sharing the story. It probably didn't even cross her mind that it might upset Meri. But after years of being treated poorly by Meri, Kody, and Robyn, Christine's loyalty is, well, non-existent. I'm not saying Christine was perfect during all of it. She probably stirred the pot just as much as anyone else. But come on, they all lived in the Hunger Games of family dynamics. It's like when a kid writes a memoir about their life, and they mention the mess that was their parents' marriage. Sure, the fight between Janelle and Kody is their fight, but it also impacted their kids. So if Logan wrote a book about his life and included that fight, guess what? It's his story too. Is it embarrassing? Sure. Is it frustrating for Janelle and Kody to have their drama aired publicly? Probably. But at the end of the day, Logan gets to own his version of the story. Same here. Meri can be upset, embarrassed, or whatever else, but Christine is part of this story too. She has every right to share her version. I'm actually glad she does. Did you catch that video of Robyn swatting at baby Truly? Yeah, I couldn't find it on YouTube either, and I lost the link, but let me tell you about it. So there's Robyn sitting on the floor with Aurora, both glued to the iPad. Truly toddles over and tries to touch it, and bam, Robyn literally swats her hand away. Remember how Kody once tried to paint Christine as the one who didn't mother the kids? Yeah, sure, Kody. I mean, this moment? It's a textbook example of Robyn showing zero maternal instinct. It happened during a Christmas episode, right? They were all sitting around, checking out the gifts Christine had made for each kid. You know, those heartfelt, personalized keepsakes that probably took Christine a whole 5 minutes to put together. What a crap sister wife, huh? Okay, let's be clear. Robyn didn't exactly swat Truly like a fly, but it was definitely a move-along kind of gesture. I get that Robyn was trying to bond with Brianna, but why not just pull Truly closer and let her be part of the moment too? Let her learn her new sister's name, maybe? Instead, Robyn just comes off like she's not interested in mothering anyone but her own. It's like she could have shown some real maternal affection. Maybe invited the other kids over to look at her kid charts or something. But nope, Robyn just kinda plays the role of a jerk instead. Christine, the woman who somehow went from a sad, lost soul in the Vegas years and early Flagstaff days to an incredible powerhouse by the end of season 16 into season 17. It's like watching a caterpillar turn into a butterfly, if the butterfly's metamorphosis was fueled by coronavirus and a whole lot of self-discovery. Honestly, the transformation is nothing short of astonishing. Let's be real, whether you're a fan of Christine or not, it's hard to ignore how much she lost herself over the years, how disconnected and miserable she seemed, especially with Kody. But then, bam, Isolation hits, and Christine suddenly wakes up to the fact that she doesn't need him. In fact, the more she lived her life without the constant chaos of his drama, the more she realized how much easier life was without him. It's almost as if she stumbled upon this magical thing called peace and thought, this might be a good vibe to keep. Sure, I'm not exactly rallying behind the whole sister-wife squad here. I'm not that invested. But you can't help but root for Christine. She did the thing. She picked herself up from years of being stuck in a cult-like marriage and figured out who she actually was. And for that, she deserves a standing ovation. I mean, look at her now, confident, radiant, and clearly thriving without Kody around to ruin her mood. Now let's talk about Isabel's surgery, the moment that really opened her eyes. Kody suggesting they postpone a major surgery. If that wasn't the last straw, I don't know what was. Taking Isabel to New Jersey alone, being the strong, independent mom, and realizing that, wow, she could actually do this without Kody's input was a game changer. By the time she was helping Isabel through that surgery, I'm guessing Christine had a full-blown epiphany about just how capable she was on her own. And let's face it, at that point, I think she'd had enough of the Kody show. But here's the kicker. Christine didn't just wake up one day and realize she could breathe without Kody. No, she took the time to read up on self-help books, like love languages, and probably reflected a lot on her life during the isolation period. You know, the kind of reflection where you actually start to figure out who you are outside of a toxic relationship. Christine started using words like safe and love language, phrases that really signaled a shift. She was done with being the doormat in a dysfunctional marriage, and instead, she began advocating for her own emotional health. It's like she went from barely hanging on to truly living her life, and that kind of personal growth deserves props. In the end, Christine's story is one of freedom. She was born into a cult-like environment, spent years being silenced, and then, after a lot of pain, she broke free. Now, she's the happiest we've ever seen her. Sure, she's not perfect. Her parenting choices might raise some eyebrows here and there, but she's clearly come a long way. She fought a huge battle, and it's clear she's not just surviving anymore, she's thriving. So yeah, I'll give credit where credit's due. Christine's a testament to the fact that sometimes it takes a pandemic to help you find yourself. You know what would really spice up those tell-alls? If someone like Dr. Drew, someone actually capable of holding Kody's feet to the fire, got a turn at interviewing him, especially Kody. Because, let's be real, Kody clearly doesn't take Suki seriously. It's almost like he thinks she's beneath him, which, surprise, surprise, isn't that far off from his usual treatment of women. But Suki, bless her heart, doesn't push back. She just goes with whatever he says, which, shocker, only feeds into his already oversized superiority complex. Honestly though, I'm dying to see what would happen if a man, someone Kody respects, or at least has to pretend to, actually called him out on his nonsense. I'm pretty sure Kody would short-circuit. I mean, if it was another man questioning him, you know he wouldn't just sit there and spew his usual BS. He'd probably be stammering, backpedaling, and looking for the nearest exit. The problem with Suki is she just lets Kody run the show every time. He throws out some outrageous claim that's completely false, and because she has so little grasp of the situation, and let's face it, because he's the man, she just accepts it as gospel. So then it becomes the basis for all the questions to the other wives. She never questions him. It's like she's got a built-in whatever Kody says must be true filter, which, surprise, surprise, never gets questioned by the producers. It's almost as if the entire setup is designed to prop up Kody's patriarchal ego. I get it, some people might think Suki's fine, but watching her just shrink into this compliant, small version of herself around Kody, it's enough to make you want to bang your head against the wall. Honestly, it's like she's allergic to challenging this pompous, self-absorbed man-child. Now, contrast that with when Tamron Hall interviewed him. She made him squirm, and it was glorious. That's what Kody needs. A journalist who isn't going to treat him like the king of his little harem. Tamron kept him on his toes, and the difference was night and day. But here's the cherry on top for me when it comes to Suki's tell-alls. Remember that cringeworthy moment from season 17? Kody dramatically reenacts the reconciliation moment with Meri, where he reaches out, grabs her hand, and acts like they're in a Lifetime movie. It was so inappropriate for the setting, yet Suki's reaction? She just covers his hand with hers and coos. It's okay. Girl, no, it was not okay. It was deeply inappropriate, and it's clear she was not in control of that interview. At all. And honestly, when you think about what's come out in the last few months, that whole reconciliation story is even more ridiculous than ever. But hey, let's keep pretending, right? I really feel so sorry for Robyn's kids. This is my first time watching the series, and based on what I've seen in this sub, it seems like Kody's bio kids are going to get the short end of the stick. Also, Robyn's kids can have their future paved in gold. That said, I'm not quite there yet in the timeline, but man, I do feel for Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. They're just stuck in this mess. First off, let's talk about Robyn's little purity speech from a few seasons ago. She actually said her biggest regret was giving away her purity, which, surprise, surprise, led to her pregnancy with Dayton. Imagine hearing your mom say that on national TV, basically implying your entire existence is the biggest mistake of her life. What kind of mother does that to her kid? The cringe is real. Now, I'm in season 9, and we're deep into the whole divorce and adoption drama. Robyn and Kody basically drop the news that Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna's dad signed away his parental rights on camera. And then they really have the nerve to act surprised when the kids aren't jumping for joy. Brianna literally looked like she was about to cry. Aurora cried too, but of course, they just decided it was a happy cry. Until Meri was like, maybe she's really sad. Yeah, you think? Honestly, I don't know much about Robyn's ex, and if her version of the story is true, which, let's be real, is probably not the full picture, then he sounds like a total deadbeat. But Robyn and Kody really went out of their way to erase him from their lives. That's just so healthy. And then there's Dayton. The look on his face when he found out was absolutely heartbreaking. He was just blindsided. You could see it in his eyes. This is my life now, huh? The whole adoption thing was so unnecessary. Those kids were clearly just pawns in Robyn's quest to rewrite history. And don't even get me started on that purity speech again. The way she cried and carried on about it made it sound like she lost her virginity in some sort of tragic one-night stand scenario. You'd think she was talking about some wild, unplanned affair, but nope, she was referring to her first husband and their planned children. Oh, and while I'm at it, I've started to wonder if the whole move from Utah to Vegas wasn't about avoiding legal trouble for polygamy, but was actually more about dodging custody issues with Robyn's ex. Could be, you never know with this crew. So I keep seeing people say, Meri's anger is misplaced, and I can't help but wonder, did those people actually watch the scene? Because Meri absolutely lost it on Kody, and rightfully so. When she first started talking, it was all raw emotion. Her eyes were red, her voice cracking. Clearly, she was hurt. She was laying bare how betrayed she felt by Christine, who decided to pick at an old wound Meri hadn't even wanted to talk about. Remember when the whole ring situation came out through Sam? That was the moment, and Meri hadn't said anything then. But now, she's being forced to confront it, and she wasn't happy about it. She even said, and now my hand is being forced, because yeah, she was called out, and now she had no choice but to open up. And then, oh yes, she went off, and she should have. She laid it out, how Kody basically tossed aside the symbol of their love, like it was a cheap trinket. She asked him, "If you're not going to wear it, can I have it back?" And his response? "I melted it." She wasn't done. She said, "The turning point for me was when he told the world, I don't consider her my wife. Go find another guy? Like, seriously?" That's where the line was crossed, and who can blame her for losing her cool? Meri finally made a solid point, though, when she switched gears and focused on the real issue. Kody took the symbol of their commitment and melted it down without so much as a conversation with her. He didn't even bother to talk about it, just passive-aggressively destroyed it. Why? Because it was no longer a symbol of love for him, but of control. He didn't want to have a real conversation, didn't want to deal with the power dynamic between them. So he took the easy way out and melted the damn ring. Kody, let's face it, has no business being in a plural marriage. He's still acting the same way now as he did 15 years ago. And it's not just disappointing, it's downright embarrassing. And then there's the whole catfishing incident. No one knew the depth of pain Meri was in, not just with Kody, but with the entire family. In hindsight, we all missed it, didn't we? It's easy to be critical when you don't know the full picture. But if we had known what Meri was really going through, I think the entire world would have rallied behind her. Instead, she got dragged. And let's not even talk about how her own family treated her afterward, or how the fans joined in on the jokes at her expense. It's honestly hard to look back at that stuff now. I just wish we'd known what we know now. As for Christine, she's made it clear for years she's not interested in being around Meri, and this season's no exception. It's like she's been beating the drum of "let's all gang up on Meri" for ages, and some people still don't get why Meri is so pissed. Christine's delivery was terrible, and she knows it. That's why she tried to backpedal, especially after Janelle's comment about "we," which made it sound like they were all in on it. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Kody to have some willing accomplices when the heat's on. He loves shifting the blame. At this point, no one is going to change anyone's mind about this. If you're not a fan of Meri, then yeah, this season probably hasn't been your favorite. TLC's letting her finally speak out after years of being painted as the villain. But let's be real, there's no point in trying to make sense of it all. People are already too polarized to budge on their opinions of these folks. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.